It's Viewpoints on the Talk Station FM 107.1. We're live in the studio and we have, a whole new panel here. I'm looking forward to it. Youthpoints. We're reinstituting Youthpoints, and I've got to give Sally King an opportunity to explain the background on this in a few minutes. But first, as we begin the program, I want to introduce, and I'm going to let Sally do the introduction of our rest of our panel. But to that, Sally, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. And you're the one who came and knocked on the door and said, let's start this over again.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
All right. You are a senior?
Yes. Senior.
At
West Carteret.
Okay. And I really appreciate this. We're working on Sally. I'm sure there's hope for her. She wants to get into media. And I'm going to try to convince her to the contrary. But I really appreciate this. So, Sally, you've brought some panelists in here. We're going to be hoping that they'll be joining us on a regular basis. Let's just start with the one right to your right. We're just going to use first names only. And so who have you got?
Well, to my right, I've got Frances. Frances, if you want to say hi.
Hello, I'm Frances.
And Frances, what year are you?
I am also a senior.
All right, you're a senior. I'm going to get you a little closer to that microphone a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, better. All right, so you're a senior at
West Carteret.
West Carteret.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
And I'm going to find out what your interests are in just a moment.
All right.
And then beyond that,
We've got Charlie.
Hi, guys.
and Charlie, where are you? What school do you attend?
I go to Croatan, and I'm in 11th grade.
Okay, junior. Outstanding.
Yes, sir.
All right. Sally, let's talk about this for a few moments. You went off college hunting this past week.
Yes, I did.
Enjoyed it?
I loved it.
Okay, you're looking forward to it.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Okay. All right. Okay, I got to go to you on Francis.
right.
Senior interest. What's your future? What are you looking at this point?
I'm hoping to go into journalism.
Excuse me?
I'm hoping to go into journalism, and
I got to talk to you two. Keep going.
I'm really interested in marketing,
Okay.
and journalism.
Okay.
I'd like to either work in that or public relations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, you want to be a hack. No. Okay. Then to you, Charlie, what's your thought? You're a junior. It's a little early, but things are beginning to shape up.
Well, I'm not entirely sure what college I want to go to. But
Don't worry about college.
Yeah.
You're talking to somebody who, and Sally and I have talked about this, but and to a degree, I'm a little jaded on college, but that's another story. And yet, all my youngsters have gone to college, so I say one thing and do another, which is typical. But beyond that, what is thought of your interest?
Well, I'm kind of interested in a lot of things. One is marine biology.
Okay.
I've also been really interested in writing, like novels and such.
Sweet.
hmm And the third thing I'm really interested in is I've always wanted to try out psychology, which are
Wait, hey, this is the perfect location.
No. It's three very different fields, but
No. Actually, no. Writing and psychology are kind of related, and the reason is you're drawing out of the your target, your source, your topic, your individual that you're speaking with.
Yeah.
You're drawing out some of the information on them, so there's a lot involved in that. It is interesting. So all three of you, in some fashion or another, are kind of interested in communications. And I'll use that broader term. Okay, here's my first question for you in that regard.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. Ink on paper, handwriting, even script writing. Do they even teach that? Do you even use that in this day and age? I'm curious, Charlie.
Well, for just basic handwriting, I mean, I've used that in school and such, but something that I've heard of before is they're stopped teaching cursive in various classes. Some parts of me agree with it because, no one really uses cursive anymore, but yeah, I know, I know cursive, but then again, I kind of disagree with it because it's important for motor skills to be learned for children at that age.
Oh, I never even considered the motor skills, but that makes good sense.
Yeah, but also for the fact that it's just a nicer way of writing, and it's important signatures and such.
Yeah. All right, I got to go with you on this one, Francis.
To be honest, I really don't write in cursive that much. I use it for my signature.
Do you print?
I print, yeah. and type a lot mostly.
Okay, that's the next one is going to go. All right, to you on this, Sally.
Well, I learned cursive, and I actually had to write in cursive. Charlie and I went to the same primary school, and it was required. So I think it's a valuable skill, and like Charlie said, it's good for motor skills and disciplinary and everything like that.
Okay, this goes back to the topic. One of these things we're going to talk in a few minutes about, by the way, and we're listening to Youthpoints, a program that we have been doing for years. It took a hiatus, and I really appreciate Sally's efforts to get me off dead center. It's the only compliment you'll ever get from me, Sally. But the point is, I think this is a great opportunity for the audience to hear what the younger generation, and I'm going to say America's future leaders, are thinking. And I hate to put the burden on you, but yeah, one of these days we're going to be handing you the keys.
Gosh, no pressure.
No pressure at all. And by the way, I forgot to mention the vehicle, the truck, is in the ditch. You got to get it out of the ditch to get it going. So best of luck to you. Here's the keys.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Looking out for your benefit. I can tell you that right now. But, it goes back to that comment related to the whole aspect of communications. And we utilize the keyboard so much. I use it all the time in the computer. I spend more of my time on a computer than I do with my cell phone. I'm not a big fan of the cell phone, okay? It's a tool for me, and I use it as much as anything for, messages, text, and voice, mostly voice. So my question to you is the whole aspect of keystroking and particularly thumb stroking. You use your thumbs, Sally?
To type on my phone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Francis?
Yes.
Yeah, usually.
I use my single digit here, then my friend. But no, this day and age, the whole concept of taking notes, keeping information, things of this nature, do you find that you rely more on that keystroke than you do on writing notes on paper? By the way, this on my desk is paper. You probably don't know what that is. Anyhow, pen and paper. Sally, what about that?
I think when I'm taking notes, if I'm like reading a text and summarizing it or trying to memorize something for a test, maybe studying, I always find that I retain the information a lot better if I'm writing it rather than typing
Physically writing it.
Right.
Francis?
I am definitely the same way. I will say I use my notes app on my phone a lot to jot down quick stuff, or if my iPhone is connected to my MacBook, so if I need to use my Chromebook, or not my Chromebook, my MacBook for some reason, it's like I can access it on two different devices, yeah.
And it's with you all the time.
Right.
Charlie?
I'm the same with them. It just helps me remember stuff when I'm writing it because I see what I'm writing, and it also takes a bit more time than typing now. So my brain has more time to process what I'm actually looking at.
Okay, so the concept of handwritten notes is not that outrageous, not outdated.
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, hey, maybe there is some common ground between this generation and that generation. We've got Sally, Francis, and Charlie here this afternoon with a program called Youthpoints, and we're learning and understanding what, and I'm serious about that comment, America's future leaders are thinking, and how they see the world. This is an important issue. The other aspect, of course, and that has to do with the value of note taking. Do you find that with the speed of information and the change in topics and activities, do you find that sometimes the notes that you're taking are just you think, well, really it's a nice idea. It sounds like or looks like it'd be interesting to keep a note on this, but you just find that you discard it pretty quickly. I'm somebody who I collect notes, I collect phrases, I collect bits of information, which I always say, hey, I want to be able to use this in the future. Of course, in my capacity and news gathering and information, I do that a lot. But I'm wondering, do you find the same holds true with you, Francis?
I think, I'll see a lot of stuff online, or like if I see something in person, I'll take a picture And I'm like, oh, I'll go back to this and remember it. But I feel like I end up forgetting it a lot of the time, or I put it in the back of my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So unless it's something physical, it's definitely harder to.
This part of this goes to the aspect of memorization, and we're going to break here in a moment. But I'm just curious: do you make an effort to memorize things, or to your point, Francis, to if you will, hold on to it in a memory bank of some nature, saying, okay, this is a piece of information I need to remember. Francis?
I think I do for stuff that, particularly catches my eye, or if I think I'll need to bring it up in the future for something. But I feel like there's so much that I see online or in person all the time. It's like a lot to process.
I want to get back to this after the break. Charlie, I'm curious about the same concept. What's your, and one of the things I want to ask is, of course, and I'm breaking into this thought process here for a moment. One of the things I'm curious about, and we'll wrap it up with this conversation later on, how much of this is unique to you, or do you see this as being, if you will, the standard of your generation? But Charlie, I'm curious about that memorization. Do you?
I can say I generally don't remember a lot of the stuff that I see online, unless it's something that, like Francis said, it particularly interests me, or something that is necessarily popular at the time, because my brain will generally remember it, because also my friends may bring it up, because they'll see some of the same stuff that I do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sally?
I was actually going to say, I have a really hard time, especially when I'm online for an extended period of time, like on my phone scrolling or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a really hard time remembering what I just watched, because it's so quick. The information just comes and goes. So I just, it's really hard to remember that, actually, and it's kind of scary.
You're acknowledging that too, Francis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Okay. But you know what's interesting? How easy is it for you to remember lyrics?
Super easy.
Charlie?
Yeah, I'd say relatively easy, yeah.
Francis?
Yeah, really easy.
Easy.
Okay. No, that's just an interesting aspect. All right, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Youthpoints here on Viewpoints, a great program, and I really, again, do I need to thank you again? I will. I want to thank Sally for taking the time to make this happen. All right, more to come here on Youthpoints on the Talk Station. I've heard of parents forgetting their children, but now I've got a sister who's forgot her brother. Sally,
yeah.
You want to give a shout out to your brother?
Yeah, sorry, Walter. Forgot about football to come here.
I hope Walter's listening. But anyhow, all right, we have Sally, Francis, and Charlie here in the studio this afternoon on our inaugural program of Youthpoints. And yes, the phones are open if you'd like to join us, but not imperative, because trust me, I have a lot to talk about this afternoon with, again, Sally, Francis, and Charlie, and we'll have others joining us here in the future. I'm looking forward to it. We're thinking about making this a Tuesday afternoon program, and I thank you guys for doing this very much. Okay, we were talking a few moments ago about the inundation of information and the fact that you do remember lyrics and things of this nature. And I got to bring up a topic I want to discuss on this. And in the future, you guys are going to be coming up with topics as well. But the aspect of the overwhelming amount of information that we're seeing and watching on our digital media, I guess my first question goes to: do you look at what amounts to print media? And I'm going to go to you on the first one on this one, Charlie, because you have expressed interest in the possibility of being an author. Do you read books?
Yes, sir.
You do? Okay. And get a little closer.
Oh, sorry.
So you read, do you read books online? Do you read digital books, or do you read ink on paper?
I tend to have a mix of both
Really?
of them. Yes, sir.
Francis?
I don't like reading digitally. I prefer reading paperback books.
Oh, you like ink on paper?
Yes, sir.
All right, Sally.
I'm the same. I also like to annotate sometimes my thoughts or questions in the book.
Well, you mean you're writing in the book?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, neat idea. This goes back to the retention of information and things of this nature. I'm gathering that really when you take time to read the product, and I'm talking in depth, such as a book, be it ink on paper or digitally, you consume it a little more completely. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Okay. The the idea here is how do you get your information and what your sources and how you source information. Boy, we talked about several items and wanted to talk about scams today too, but we'll may get that to a later date. So my question then goes to the role of, and I'm going to use the word celebrities, influencers, and things of this nature. And I'll tell you where I'm headed. I'm headed to Taylor Swift, but also to others as well, particularly in the music field in the process. So how important is, first question, how important do you feel among your peers? That's the big question, among your peers, not just you. Do you feel influencers, celebrities, how important are they in, one, highlighting a topic, and two, the confidence and retention of that topic? And I'm starting with you, Charlie.
Well, certainly a lot of celebrities play a very large role in what, I mean, people my age do. I mean, based on the music they listen to, the way that they talk, and just everything about their life. Like, a lot of people that listen to certain genres of music act a lot more like the celebrities that make that music.
Okay.
Or people starting trends. I see people doing those trends. It's just, it's incredibly important. And is it good? Not necessarily. But it's just very deep set into our culture now.
Okay, because it's interesting. Do you like sports?
Not a huge fan of sports, but they're all right. Yeah.
Francis.
I can't say I'm a big sports fan.
Okay, I'll tell you where I'm. Sally,
I'm
are.
I'm a sports fan.
Yeah, you're okay. How important among your peers, your friends, are the issues of celebrities?
I think honestly, I think the main thing that is so influential about celebrities is the way that they can start trends. Kind of like Charlie said, I think trends are really what have a grip on our age group, and a lot of the time those trends are started by celebrities. Like, especially with the use of social media and things like that, and which controls what we see, which we're on. I mean, a lot, I'd say.
Right.
That controls our behavior.
Francis, you agree with that?
I do. I think that what you said, Sally, made me think of Charlie XCX and
Who again?
she's Charlie XCX. She's like a pop singer.
Okay,
And
one more time.
Charlie XCX.
You got to understand. You're talking to me, okay? You're pulling it up. What is Charlie XCX? Oh,
Here.
okay.
We're gonna listen to Charlie.
Oh, okay. I guess we're listening to
No.
Charlie XCX, maybe.
No, he's not. He's
Okay.
okay. Charlie XCS. Okay.
Yes, she came out with an album this summer that was really, really popular with young people in particular, called Brat. And there's been like an association with Kamala Harris and the album. I'm not exactly sure why, but she's included it in a lot of her social media marketing in particular, like saying, Kamala is Brat, and just in relation to Charlie XCX.
Because it's a trend.
Right.
Okay, and I'm assuming it's a positive.
Yeah, there's a more positive connotation with it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's interesting. Well, this leads me to all right. You bring up the issue of politics here in a moment, but before I even go there, the NFL has been all excited about Taylor Swift and the Kelsey brothers, Travis Kelsey, who's the Kansas City Chiefs. All right. And one of the thoughts is that the NFL is promoting this in hopes that because of Taylor Swift's popularity and influence, I guess, that it's going to draw more attention to the NFL. Okay. Are you guys Swifties? Any of you Swifties?
I am not.
I wouldn't call myself a Swiftie, but I have been a Taylor Swift fan for a very long time.
All right.
I'm not.
Charlie, you and I can bond. Okay. All right. I'm not. That's fine. But my point is, the purpose of and that's among many cynics, let alone skeptics, cynics, that the intention here of engaging the potential romantic interest between Kelsey and Swift is going to draw attention, particularly to females, to the NFL. Your thoughts? Have you had any conversations? Has there been any discussion on that in the classroom on that? I'm just curious.
I honestly don't think, like from what I know, I don't really think anybody cares enough that Taylor Swift is going to be shown on the screen for like a couple seconds to watch a whole football game for it. Like I don't think that's a valid like reason for them to.
Francis?
Me personally, I heard a lot more about the NFL last season than I did in my entire life.
Because of Taylor Swift.
But I wouldn't say it made like a huge impact on me or anything. I mean, I'm not very invested in sports.
Okay, and I'm talking to the two of you simply because of your gender. I'm going to be very blunt.
All right.
But because the idea was to get women engaged in football and watching it. And of course, the whole issue of flag football. There's a whole new trend here.
Right.
I appreciate, to your point, Francis, the marketing effort, which is really a marketing scheme to promote football. And NFL works very diligently to protect its franchise, to expand its franchise. So I'm wondering, you ladies are not, it's not creating a lot of buzz.
Not for me.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not among our peers. Maybe online, but not in real life.
Look, I would say in real life, you are indicative. And you said something a few moments ago, which I thought was interesting, and you too as well, Francis, that a few moments on the TV is not going to keep you engaged in the football game for the remainder of 2.5, 3 hours.
Right.
Right.
I think that's an important issue, and somebody is listening into this program and writing a note and sending it to the ESPN and to NFL saying, you need to hear what these ladies just said. Charlie, and we'll wrap it up with this. We'll move on to other items because I want to talk about the issue of influencers. But your thoughts on that as well. Have any topics, any discussion in the classroom about NFL, Swift, and whatever you...
Not a lot, honestly. It's just mostly like what you see online, like Francis said, like, oh yeah, Taylor Swift. But also I agree with Sally. If you see her for like 2 seconds, it's like, okay, I'm not gonna.
You've seen her.
Yeah. Oh my God, Taylor Swift. Okay, I can turn off the TV now. It's not a matter of like, oh, I'm gonna watch the entire rest of the game because oh my God, 2 seconds of Taylor Swift.
I like that attitude. Well, it's something we have, and I say me, my generation have all kind of complained about, and because I do enjoy football, but I'm not interested in watching the celebrity. I want to watch the game, and we watch a camera will pan over to the stands. Oh, there's Taylor Swift and with Patrick Mahomes, although they aren't seen much now together. Patrick Mahomes' wife, but they would just make a big deal out of it. But it's an interesting observation because I go back to my earlier comments to you before we go to the break. You are really indicative of the marketing trend. Now, granted, just 3 of you, but what you hear, what you're seeing, and what you're experiencing in classroom is kind of, I think, can be broadened across the country. All right, we're going to come back. I want to talk one more item about the issue of celebrity and influencers here in a moment. You're listening to Viewpoints on the Talk Station. We have about 6 minutes left with our panel of Utes here on Youthpoints, and we have Sally, who is responsible for this, and it's all her fault if it's not any good. We have Francis and Charlie. They're going to share some of the blame as well. Francis is senior at West Carteret. Charlie, a junior at Croatan, and Sally, 1 foot out the door, headed to college at West Carteret as well. And the topic we were talking about a few moments ago was that of influencers. And it's interesting, Francis, you brought up the topic of Charlie what?
Charlie XCX.
Charlie XCS.
XCX. Like the letters XCX.
CX. Okay. Boy, you've lost me. I'm going to have to go check. All right. And the fact and the relationship with Kamala Harris and the election. and I'm not interested in. Well, we can get into politics, but that's just not. All politics all the time gets a little boring. But the interesting aspect of this is the fact that Taylor Swift, of course, has endorsed Kamala Harris. And it goes back to the issue of, regardless of politics, food products, cars, or anything of this nature, again, with the plethora, the volume of celebrities and influencers out there, and the volume of podcasts that are accessible to you, how do you define who the most important influencers are? What do you look for? What is it? And is this in a conversation? Case in point, I never heard of Charlie XCS. And by the way, Charlie, I guess is spelling her name.
There's no I.
No I.
Oh wait, sorry. There's no E.
E. Oh,
There's no E.
Charlie. Okay, Charlie. Okay, all right. So my question is, what raises Lockwood to the level of a major influencer or a celebrity in this day and age with all the competition out there, Sally?
This might. I mean, I don't think this is a main thing about. I mean, probably like a popular idea about how to become an influencer. But I think for me, when I'm looking at important people that I look up to who are also famous, I look for people who have done something. I don't really know how to describe it. Just like,
let me put it this way.
Yep.
So basically, you have set parameters, expectations.
I don't necessarily have expectations. I just know
You have standards.
I do. And
Okay.
I'm not just gonna listen to somebody just because they're famous or just because
Okay.
they have a large following or whatever the case may
But
be.
wait a second, that's Sally. What about your peers?
I really don't think that if someone's behaving in a way that people don't like but they're famous, nobody's gonna listen to them.
Okay, Francis.
I definitely agree. I think, online there's such a huge thing with cancel culture and whatnot.
Okay, yeah, good point. I forgot about the cancel. I didn't even think about the cancel culture. Well, okay, we're going to get into Sean Diddy Combs in just a moment. But to you on this one, Charles.
Well, I mean, certainly a lot of certainly some people have listened to certain celebrities based on what they say, even if it's something that they've done wrong.
But what about the trending? I mean, your friends are listening to it, so suddenly that influences you. I'm assuming it does.
Trends, you said?
Yeah. Charlie's just mentioning this in a way, in a certain degree, that you're hearing the same conversation among your peers about an individual.
Yeah, and it makes you think about that individual more.
So it basically is trying to gain that popularity.
Yeah.
Well, the whole issue of hip hop, and I mentioned Combs just a few moments ago. Obviously, he's going to, he's in jail. Doesn't mean he's guilty.
Right.
But what impact is that going to have?
I don't really know anything about that case.
Okay. Francis?
I don't think
he
has like a huge impact with like people our age, aside from people
good point.
just like referencing,
His
situation.
yeah.
It's
But
kind of
I
a
don't
joke.
know of anyone who listens to him or like is a fan of him really. I just know people referencing, the whole situation with him.
Charlie?
Well, I don't know a bit more about the case, but Sean Combs, is that his name, correct?
Yeah, Sean.
Yeah.
Diddy Combs. Yeah.
Yeah. He has influenced a lot of the younger generation, but not in the way that his songs, but more so in that he has influenced other younger influencers,
Right.
which then influence
And
us.
they kind of want to compare their image to his.
Yes, because I believe he's not as popular now, but I believe it was Justin Bieber who had a whole thing with P Diddy, and it's a kind of like a trickle down system.
Good point.
He influences them, and then they influence us.
It is interesting. This is a topic for future conversations. How do you gain the notoriety? How do you get the how do you become famous or infamous? And I think that's a big issue. All right, I want to thank you guys for being with us this inaugural program. Good job, Sally.
Thank you.
And to Walter,
Oh, yeah.
we won't forget you in the future.
I promise.
All right.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Bring me next time.
Yeah, that's right. To Sally, Francis, and Charlie, thanks for being with us this evening here on Youth Points. I really appreciate this.